I started getting food deliveries I never ordered. Until I checked the doorbell camera. The bag was still warm. That's what I keep coming back to. I opened my front door at 11:47 on a Tuesday night because my dog wouldn't stop barking. And there it was. A plastic bag from Thai Garden. The place 3 blocks down. Pad Thai, spring rolls, a bottle of water. My order. My exact order. The one I get every other Friday when I'm too tired to cook. Except I hadn't ordered anything. And it was on Friday. I stood there in my doorway wearing a t-shirt and boxers, looking up and down the street. Empty. Just parked cars and the sodium orange glow from the street light. No delivery car pulling away. No footsteps. Nothing. My dog, Hank, a 70-pound lab who barks at squirrels like they owe him money, was pressed against my leg, completely silent. That was the part that scared me first. Not the food. Hank. I told myself it was a mistake. Wrong address. Some driver mixed up the numbers, dropped it, and drove off. I brought the bag inside, didn't eat it, and threw it in the trash. By morning, I'd almost convinced myself it was nothing. Then it happened again. Thursday. Chipotle this time. Chicken burrito bowl. No sour cream. Extra corn salsa. I've been ordering that same thing for 3 years. The receipt inside the bag had my name on it. Marcus. No last name. Just Marcus. And the delivery address was correct. 412 Renner Street, Columbus, Ohio. I hadn't opened the app. I checked. I hadn't even been near my phone for the past 2 hours. I called the restaurant. The manager told me the order came through their system as a normal app delivery, paid in full. When I asked for the account information, he said he couldn't access that. I asked if there was a name on the account. He went quiet for a second. Then he said, "It just says Marcus." My hands were shaking when I hung up. I opened my Ring doorbell app. I had installed it after my car window got smashed 2 years ago. Good camera. Good night vision. I pulled up the footage from that evening. 7:24 p.m. Right when the notification said motion was detected. The driveway was empty. Then a figure walked into frame from the left. I leaned closer to my phone. The person was carrying the Chipotle bag. But they stopped 6 feet from my door. They didn't ring the bell. They didn't wave at the camera. They didn't look around nervously. They just stood there. Perfectly still. For 11 seconds. I counted every single one. Then they gently placed the bag on my porch, turned around, and walked back the way they came. I rewound the footage and watched it again. The person was wearing a gray hoodie and blue jeans. Nothing remarkable. But when they turned to leave, something happened that still keeps me awake at night. They looked directly into the camera. Not toward it. Not by accident. Straight at it. Like they knew exactly where it was. And then, they smiled. I called my sister, Dana, that night. She told me to call the police, which I did. The officer who came out was polite but honest. No crime had been committed. Someone had simply left food on my porch. He took my statement, copied the camera footage, and said he would let neighborhood patrol know. Before leaving, I asked if he thought it was someone I knew. He stopped at the front door for a moment. Then he looked back at me. In my experience, he said, when someone knows exactly what you order and knows your name, it's usually personal. I didn't sleep that night. I went through everyone I could think of. Old girlfriends, former co-workers, neighbors, people from the gym, anyone who might have a reason to mess with me. Nothing made sense. Nobody from my past should have known where I lived. I had only moved to Renner Street 14 months earlier. I changed every password I had. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, email, banking, everything. I even turned on two-factor authentication. For about 36 hours, I actually felt better. Then Sunday happened. I was home all day. I never left the house. My car stayed in the driveway. I spent the afternoon watching football. Ironically, I even ordered real food through DoorDash around 4 o'clock. When that delivery arrived, I grabbed it, thanked the driver, and went back inside. At exactly 9:11 p.m., my Ring camera sent another motion alert. I opened the app immediately. Live view. No one was standing outside. But there was something sitting on my porch. A plain white box. About the size of a showbox. No shipping label. No name. No return address. I stared at it through the live feed for almost a full minute before finally grabbing a kitchen knife and opening the front door. I picked up the box. It was surprisingly light. I carried it into my kitchen, locked the front door, and set it on the table. For almost a minute, I just stared at it. Then I opened it. Inside was a single photograph. Standard printer paper. 8.5 by 11 inches. The second I looked at it, my stomach dropped. It was me, sitting in my car. The timestamp in the corner read, last Wednesday, 8:43 am. I was waiting in a Starbucks drive-thru on Broad Street. I remembered that morning because I had spilled coffee on my shirt. I was wearing the exact same shirt in the picture. Someone had been standing close enough to photograph me through my driver's window. Close enough that I should have noticed them. But I hadn't. Under the photo was a plain white index card. Written in small, neat handwriting were 6 words. I just want you to eat well. I immediately called Dana again. This time she drove straight to my house. While I waited for her, I opened my Ring app again. I decided to go back through every recording. Not just the past week. Everything. Months of footage. At first, nothing looked unusual. Then I noticed something. A random Thursday afternoon, about 2 months earlier, a person wearing a gray hoodie walked past my house. They didn't stop. They didn't look at the camera. They simply walked by. Most people would never have noticed them. I kept scrolling backward. 5 weeks before the first food delivery. The same gray hoodie. Same height. Same build. Walking past my house at 8:15 in the morning. 3 weeks before. Standing at the end of my driveway. Only for seconds. Then walking away. 2 weeks before. They stood there for 20 seconds. Not moving. 1 week before the first delivery. They stepped closer, close enough to reach out and touch my mailbox. I felt sick. This hadn't started a few days ago. Whoever this person was, they had been watching me for months, slowly getting closer every single week, and I had never noticed. When Dana finally arrived, I showed her every clip. She stayed quiet the entire time. When the last video finished playing, she looked at me with a face I had never seen before. "Marcus, this person isn't just watching you. They're escalating." She was right. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Week after week, the stranger had moved closer. Closer to my driveway. Closer to my porch. Closer to me. The food deliveries weren't random. They were gifts. And every gift was another step closer. We called the police again. This time, a detective came to my house. Her name was Detective Vasquez. Young, calm, sharp eyes. She didn't brush me off like the first officer had. She carefully collected the photograph, the handwritten note, every Ring camera recording, everything. She copied all of it onto a department drive. When she finished, she looked at me. "I think you should stay somewhere else for a few days." That was all I needed to hear. I packed a small bed that night. I planned to stay with Dana across town. At exactly 11:40 p.m., I locked my front door. Just as I reached my car, my phone vibrated. Another Ring notification. Motion detected. I opened the app. My heart almost stopped. The person in the gray hoodie was standing at the end of my driveway. Not moving. Not hiding. Just watching me. Even through the grainy night vision, I recognized that same calm smile. I rushed back inside, locked the deadbolt, closed every curtain. Then I called 911. The dispatcher told me officers were already on the way. I stood beside my living room window, barely pulling back the curtain enough to see outside. The figure never moved. 1 minute passed. Then another. It felt like forever. Finally, headlights appeared at the end of the street. A police cruiser. No siren. Driving slowly. The stranger watched the cruiser approach. Then, without panic, without running, without looking back, they simply turned around and walked away, like they knew exactly how much time they had. By the time the officers reached my driveway, the street was empty. No footprints. No vehicle. Nothing. It was as if the person had disappeared into the night. 2 days later, Detective Vasquez called me. They had enhanced several frames from the Ring footage. The face wasn't clear, but it was enough to begin searching. The handwritten note was being analyzed. The photograph was checked for fingerprints. Then she told me something I wasn't expecting. She had obtained a warrant for the delivery account. Whoever had been ordering the food had created the account 13 months earlier, the exact month I moved into my house. The profile didn't use a fake name. It used mine. My full name. Marcus Allen Webb. Someone had built an entire food delivery account using my identity. Not to steal from me. Not to hack me. Just to send me food. For over a year. Detective Vasquez believed they had spent months studying my routine, learning what I liked to eat, when I usually ordered dinner, where I worked, where I stopped for coffee, everything. She became quiet for a moment. Then she asked one final question. Mr. Webb, can you think of anyone from your past? Anyone at all? Who might believe they owe you something? I searched every memory I had. Family, friends, old classmates, co-workers, ex-girlfriends. Nothing. I couldn't think of a single person. That conversation ended 6 weeks ago. Since then, the police haven't identified anyone. The face doesn't match anyone in their database. The fingerprints belong to no one on record. The account was traced through multiple funds before ending at a public library. The same library I drive past every morning on my way to work. Every lead ended in nothing. For a while, the deliveries stopped. No food. No boxes. No strangers standing outside. I almost convinced myself maybe it was finally over. Then, last week, I came home from work and found a single spring roll sitting on my welcome mat, wrapped in aluminum foil, still warm. There was no delivery bag, no receipt, no note, just the spring roll. I immediately opened the Ring app. I watched the recording. Then I watched it again. And again. Nothing. No person walked onto my porch. No car slowed down. No motion alert. Nothing. At exactly 6:02 p.m., my porch was empty. 1 minute later, at 6:03 p.m., the spring roll was there, as if it had appeared out of nowhere. Detective Vasquez is still investigating the footage. She doesn't have an explanation. Neither do I. I still don't know who this person is. I don't know why they chose me. And I definitely don't know what they want. But every night, right before I fall asleep, I keep thinking about those 6 words written on that little white card. I just want you to eat well. Most people hear that and think it sounds kind, comforting. I don't. Because people who say things like that usually plan on staying in your life for a very, very long time.